All right. So the topic for this interview is the influence of user-centric technology on adolescents' development and the quality of their interpersonal relationships. You have been grouped in the category for concerned parents and relatives. Who might you be concerned for, and what is this individual's or these individuals' relation to you?
I would do my mom. So, uh, growing up, I never had much parental guidance at all because my mother didn't care to spend any time looking after myself and continues to not really look after my siblings because her TV shows and all the drama that she cares about are as far contains all of her attention. Um,
Yeah.
so, for example, I failed the first grade, which Um, isn't necessarily a reflection, I think, of your intelligence because a kid isn't going to want to do their own homework, and they're not going to want to pay attention in school and stuff without any of their own discipline. So if your parents aren't encouraging you and looking after your grades and so on, it's easy for someone to just not pay, for a first grader to not do well.
Right.
And But, as a graduate student at a top 10 university, when I'm now an engineer, failing the first grade was not a reflection of my intelligence. It was a reflection of the fact that you had to do assignments every day, which my parents didn't make me do. So really, it was like,
Like
it's like you're
parenting.
fail that grade. But it's all because my mom spends all her time, um, watching TV shows and dramas and things like she used to always watch Grey's Anatomy. Um,
Mm.
was just drama shows with lots of pornographic scenes and just really gross, and that's what these
Right.
do.
The wonders of television.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe your mother's, or your family's rather, as income?
Extreme poverty, barely surviving, all never able to pay the bills.
Okay, and how would you describe the education level of each parent?
So stepdad doesn't have any education. Now my mom has a bachelor's degree, but it's in forensic anthropology, which is really just nonsense memorization. Um, and that's why she makes minimum wage. So really, her education doesn't extend into anything valuable.
Okay. Could you walk me through a typical day for, um, well, I guess for you in your past and for your siblings currently?
Um, yeah. So, yeah, my mom spends all her free time just watching TV and her TV shows and doesn't look after her siblings or her children, I mean. So, my youngest sister is not developed to the point where she should be for a 5-year-old. Her speaking ability is extremely below average, and that's just because she doesn't talk to her child ever and lets TV raise the 5-year-old. She's had a British accent for a little while as a result of watching Peppa Pig. So the only person, Peppa Pig is a children's TV show that comes from England. So all the characters have British accents, and so she picked up the British accent because she never hears her own mother talk to her. So
So this child is supplementing parental need through um, their use of their device.
yep. And then even my uh, other brother who's in school, she doesn't take the time to clean the house or anything because she spends all her free time watching TV. And when he needs to do homework or comes over to my house for studying, she calls him home because the house is dirty because the cable man is coming over. And that took away his valuable study time that he needed to use to learn calculus that I was helping him with. But instead, he lost that study time, and because she wants him to clean the house so that she can continue watching TV.
So it's sort of a desensitization, or more like the blinders are on. because of this sort of addiction to um, television.
Yep.
That's
Yes.
unfortunate.
Total neglect for her children. I pulled through and became successful entirely of my own merit, for which I owe my parents nothing. The only impact they've had on me in my adult life has been, has been negative. So they were literally an obstacle to overcome rather than something that assisted me.
So it sounds like your mother uses, or sounds like your mother is mostly addicted to television, but what sort of medias are most frequented by your siblings in a response to this lack of parenting?
So the youngest watches elementary school level stuff, of course, Peppa Pig and all that kind of stuff. And then my other sister, who's 8, spends all her time watching YouTube videos and being drawn into the media advertisement kind of stuff that sounds cool. Mostly she becomes obsessed with the different products that are available today that are most marketed for her age. So the LOL dolls, and she knows about every video game, and she knows about every mainstream product that is marketed to consumers. So she's become heavily oriented to become a mindless consumer because her mother spends no time with her, and so she spends all her time consuming media through YouTube and stuff, which instills in her an obsession of
successful child market.
Yeah, obsessive child market. So she knows all the dolls, all the video games, everything that's marketed to children her age. She knows everything about it because she consumes all the media that is advertising for her age. So she has no
sort of a flickering brainwash.
Yes, corporate brainwash would be that would be an accurate description.
Appropriate. All right. How often would you say that your sisters are plugged in?
100% of the time that my mom isn't trying to do something like take them, she has to go shopping or bring them around. But yeah, if they're home with my mom, then my mom is watching TV and she has handed them an iPad or they're on their cartoons and ignores them and quarantines them off into their own section of the house so that she doesn't have to talk or deal with them at all. And then they can be entertained through their own little iPad, YouTube apps, or cartoons. So they're plugged in 100% of the time that they are home.
Now I know you've already sort of illustrated this a bit earlier, but how does the state of this being plugged in for your mother and for your sisters affect home life activities, social interactions, and intimate bonds?
Well, I would say that they have no intimate bonds because they spend no time together despite being home all the time, especially with the current COVID-19. They're not going to school, but they spend no time talking to each other or engaging in any activities because their only activities are their own isolated entertainment television. So the little kids watch the little kid shows. My mom watches the adult drama shows, and there's no interaction between them.
Everyone is together but apart.
Right. Different rooms, same house.
Very sad state.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe the quality of the parent-to-child bond, both maternal and paternal, for you, your sisters, and your brothers?
I would say pretty much no bond. Like I don't really talk to my mom at all. Don't have any real connection to her. Don't really ever think about her. She never was present while I was growing up. Again, same house. She never really associated with me. She was just glued to her TV. My siblings are probably growing up in the same condition of just being glued to their own television shows and then never talking to my parents. So there's really no parent-child bond. And then growing up, there was no parent-child bond with me. So,
have you or your siblings ever experienced any home life disruptions? For example, parental disputes, divorce, relocation, death, or in more traumatic cases, neglect, abuse, or abandonment?
I would say that the only abuse is the lack of engagement in their lives. Nobody.
So neglect.
Yeah, just plain neglect. Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody
What
help me.
about parental disputes?
I'm not sure. So my mom, of course, would never take away their video games or TV shows or anything like that because that's what entertains them. So really everything runs smoothly there so long as everyone's glued into their own programs and no one's bothering each other because they're both sucked into what they're doing.
Okay. So this is sort of a monkey see, monkey do situation.
Yep.
Okay. What sort of effect might these disruptions, or we'll say the neglect that you admitted to, have on this or these individuals' internet or device-related habits?
Well, the impact is that it increases. So if there's nothing else to do, and the mother isn't parenting their child at all, then the child has nothing to do other than go into their own world in in the internet and TV shows and entertain themselves and just become, entirely dependent on technology for their own entertainment.
Okay. Do you think that your sisters or siblings might be seeking some sort of fulfillment through their cyber interactions?
Of course, yeah. Of being able to do literally anything else. So.
What do you think they could be seeking?
Well, there's some form of good feeling entertainment or some form of belonging or fulfillment that doesn't otherwise exist in their life with a completely absent parent. So at least TV and media engages you.
Right. Do you believe that internet and device-related activities have wedged a divide between parent and child?
Yes, if it creates a fantasy world that you're more happy, being in, then you can just ignore the real world, and that becomes the divide that, was why my mother doesn't pay any attention to her kids and hoping that TV.
And that can be especially detrimental because while this captivates the mind, it completely disregards the physical aspect of human.
Yep.
Right. Do you believe that this divide can ever be bridged? And if so, what might that require?
I'm actually going to say no, because it depends on the person. So if you're the kind of person that's unhappy in their life and that you just would rather watch TV all day and live in a fantasy world, then I think that due to that person's personality, they're just always going to try to find ways to disengage from the real reality. And just like there are hardworking people and there are lazy people, there are people who want to be proactive and improve their lives and live the real world that they have to the best of their abilities. And there's people who just want to,
make excuses,
watch TV all day, be lazy, not, work on
not put effort maybe into change.
Yep. Kind of like always be drug addicts and
That's a very sad view. I would like to be more optimistic, but that's unfortunately more likely to be the reality of things.
Yeah, well, I just like to argue with my mom, and then it's like arguing with a brick wall, or there's no way to get her to understand anything that makes it, there's no way to have her see reason. So
like any addiction, it would take that person having some sort of epiphany.
Yep.
Well, that pretty much concludes this interview. Thanks for taking the time to discuss your concerns with me, and this has been very valuable. Thank you so much.
No problem.